don't have an elegant way to begin. So I'll just read off of something I've got. Supposed to make a video about this, not a song. I wish I could edit live streams. I'm surprised I get to keep my channel. This does not explain a thing. To those of you who are different, our greatest fear is not that we are simple or will amount to nothing. Our greatest fear is that we are complex beyond measure. We fear our complexity. We fear our complexity. And so we, in turn, seek to simplify others. And so anybody who was too different, too outside the norm, too outside of our comprehension of what is possible, they scare us. They completely overwhelm and change everything we know that is possible. And we cannot have that. We cannot have that. So the first defense is skepticism. Now, skepticism is healthy. Skepticism is a very good thing. It allows us to think and approach things critically and rationally instead of getting swept away by every single new idea. That comes along. But skepticism can hold us back from being the greatest that we can be. It can hold us back from what we can achieve because of our fear. Because we fear that what we have is not all there is, that there is more to life than what we're living now. I don't wonder why people are unable to accept me or understand me. But I wonder why they seek to invalidate my existence. I wonder what it is about me that makes them so triggered and offended that they have to tell me that I'm just trying to be different, that I'm just trying for attention, that I'm really not experiencing what I actually experience, that I don't feel what I actually feel, that I don't know how I feel, that I don't know what I think, that I don't know what I experience, that I am just a naive, gullible child who doesn't know how the world works, and I don't know myself despite living this for 25 years. I know myself much more than you do. I know myself much more than you do. I know how I feel. I know what I think. I know what I experience. You do not get to tell me that what I am, who I am, what I feel, what I think, what I experience is not true. That it's some made up fantasy that doesn't exist. Because you have no idea what it's like to be me. And I am so sorry that it offends you so much that I am that different. I have legitimate conditions that put me in the 1% of the population in multiple ways. So I'm in the 1% of the population in more ways than one, with many of the conditions that I have. And that triggers people. All my life, I have been accused of pretending to be different just to feel special, of magnifying my unique qualities or the qualities that make me very, very different or rare, just to feel special. Why is that? How come people can't just accept that differences exist that are outside of their lived experience or knowledge? They have to invalidate it. They have to go out of their way to say it doesn't exist and that these people are attention-seeking special snowflakes. It seems that the people who cry out about attention-seeking snowflakes are attention-seeking themselves because they are so bothered by the fact that other people are chiming in now, opening up about their experiences that they were afraid to talk about before. These people who are attention-seeking snowflakes, they were afraid to talk about the qualities that make them attention-seeking snowflakes to society because they knew they're going to be called that. So I ask, why does it trigger you so much when those of us with our experiences open up about it? To those of you who are different, you know that your experiences are real. You know that your experiences are valid. There might not be a name for it. There might not be a lot of research or data on it. There might be a lack of understanding on it. You might not know why you are the way you are or act the way you act. It might be a completely new horizon we're discovering. As an example, most people who watch my channel, most people who know me know that I have selective mutism. And I've explained it on other videos. It is an anxiety disorder from our current understanding where somebody is incapable of physically speaking in many situations, in situations where they are expected to speak. And they are incapable of speaking to most people. And it's usually situations in which they are expected to speak. So that's pretty much all situations. This is the first time I'm going to be speaking on my channel. I feel like this is an important message to deliver. Now, selective mutism is estimated to be about 1% of the population. It is a very severe anxiety disorder in which people are unable to speak. But it's not just speaking, it's communicating in any way. I couldn't make facial expressions. I found nodding hard. I found sneezing, coughing, eating, having any kind of reaction to be insanely difficult. And so a lot of times people with selective mutism might have a stone face. And that is a very short summary of what selective mutism is. It is different in everyone. It manifests differently with everybody who has it. And that condition is estimated to be 1% of the population. And I've gotten all my life people trying to tell me that what I experienced was not real, was not legitimate, doesn't exist, that I'm choosing not to speak, that I'm choosing this, that there's something wrong with me, making up all kinds of reasons to explain why I couldn't speak because I just couldn't understand how come somebody was mute. They just could not wrap their heads around it. Now I didn't know that there was a term called selective mutism until I was 14 years old, and then I was not professionally diagnosed with selective mutism until I was 21 years old. because I told my psychologist that I had it, because she didn't know what it was, because mental health professionals do not know what it is, because it is a very new disorder, because it's not known about, because it's new, because there is very little research on it. There's a lot more now than there was 10 years ago when I was 14 or so. 15, 14, I don't remember. There was a lot more research now than there was 10 years ago, but there's still not a lot. I'm still sort of a guinea pig. Anyone who is diagnosed with this disorder is a guinea pig. It's a new horizon. And that's just one small little aspect of me in which I am different, in which there has never been anything. There's no research on selective mutism. There is no information on it. Who's a celebrity who has it? No, I can't think of any. There was nobody. You have no idea what it's like to live life thinking you're the only individual in the entire world who is like you, and have everyone in your immediate surroundings treat you like you are an alien from outer space. You have no idea what that does to your psyche. You have no idea what it's like to live like that. I have no conception of what it's like to be average, and that is something that a lot of people relate to. Most people I know, they struggle with feeling like they're average and that they don't matter because they're so average and they don't stand out and there's nothing special about them. And it's such a common human experience, but I cannot relate to that at all. And it does not make me better, it does not make me worse, I just can't relate to that. And it makes me feel apart from people because I have no idea what it's like to be average. In every possible way, in every aspect of myself, I am different from other people. I often joke that the only way I am normal is that I'm right-handed, and I'm able-bodied to an extent. But yeah, I'm right-handed. I should have been left-handed. But I cannot relate to the feeling of being average. I don't know what that's like, to have access to experiences considered valid, to be seen as part of the majority in many ways. To see other people who go through the exact same thing you go through, to know that you exist, to know that your experiences exist, to never have to fight for the validity of your experiences, to never have to fight to prove that you exist. I don't know what it's like to automatically be considered valid simply for existing. You have no idea what it's like to be me. You haven't even tried to understand what it's like to be me. You've just sat there and told me what you think I am without ever without ever truly listening to me. And that's not fair. That's what I'm frustrated about. We should first listen to understand instead of listening to respond. Most people, I find, in most interactions, listen only to respond instead of listening to understand. If you don't know, if you cannot understand where I'm coming from, you are not in a position to tell me what you think I am, because you don't understand. And if you do understand where I'm coming from, you are also not in a position to tell other people they're going through either. It sort of goes both ways. Everybody is different. That's what I've always believed. Everybody is complex. I've known many people who believed they were simple. They were very simple people, and they weren't very complex, and they said I was too complex for them. They meant it as a sort of insult, actually, not as a compliment. They meant it as an insult. And I believe them because that's what they believe about themselves. So I believe that. I don't believe I know people better than they know themselves. However, years later, they kind of realized that they were a lot more complex than they gave themselves credit for, that they believed about themselves, because they thought they were simple because they didn't acknowledge a lot of feelings and experiences they had. They just weren't willing to acknowledge parts of themselves. And later, years later, once they acknowledged it, they realized they're not actually as simple as they thought they were. There's not much of a point to this video. The main message I would give is that we should be more understanding instead of responding to someone as if the main message of this video would be to go into life not thinking that you already know someone you really don't know. And the irony is that I was told that I was acting as if I knew what everybody else is like, or I was making a judgment of other people, but they were judging me. To those of you who are different, to those of you who are different, don't simplify yourself for others. Don't simplify yourself because other people are so offended or so upset or so angered by your mere existence. Don't simplify yourself because it confuses others. Don't simplify yourself to make it easier on the world around you. To those of you who are different, don't simplify yourself. Everybody's different. What I think people fear the most is their own complexity. And the people who fear their complexity the most are the ones who go around accusing everyone else of being special snowflakes for being their complex selves, for being too different. If you allow yourself to be as different and as complicated and as complex and as out there as you possibly are, you give others the permission to be as complex and as complicated and as nuanced and as out there as they truly are. A lot of this is based on Marianne Williamson's Our Deepest Fear quote, or Our Deepest Fear poem. But I came to the conclusion that it's complexity instead of lightness that people are afraid of. Well, people are afraid of both. But that is the message. That's what I wanted to say in this video.